A proper Sunday lunch has become a rarity everywhere. But every time I'm invited to one, I think, what a loss. So I'm making chicken consommé, the most exquisitely elegant and fragrant soup there is, boeuf en croûte, beef tenderloin with mushroom duxelles wrapped in puff pastry, green beans with hazelnuts and creme fraiche, and bombe glacée, a showy 19th century moulded ice dessert. All French Sunday lunch fare, which I hope will revive the tradition.
Seeing the signs again. Come over, and we'll meet again. Da da da, da 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 da.
I'm making a proper Sunday lunch now that the weather's getting cooler and everyone finally wants to come inside again and be warm instead of at the beach. And I want 3 substantial courses because I love a Sunday lunch that lasts for hours and hours and hours. My first course is chicken consommé with snipped herbs. Sounds like a ghost, it's so old-fashioned. And this is homemade chicken stock, which means it will taste fantastic. Now the way you make it look as beautiful as it tastes is to make something called a raft. Now you're wondering, what's going on? Just put the stock straight away into a pot. A leek, 1 carrot, and so I just want the parsley stems, just a few. And I'm going to grate that. You can do all this in a food processor, but it's loud for Sunday. I like a nice relaxed morning. And parsley stems. Now here's what happens. You're going to crack 2 egg whites into here. And egg whites are a purifying element in the raft mix. I'm going to save these yolks for a little bit. Need them later. So 2 egg whites. And then this is ground chicken and the vegetables. Now all of these things have delicious flavor, like the stock. And when you boil them up in the stock, they add flavor to it. That's why a consommé is so much more flavorful than just stock. But also, this funny little mixture, when you put it on top of the stock, will clear it because the stock bubbles through it and leaves all the debris stuck in the raft. This thing. And instead of being chicken burgers, it's going in here. As soon as you start to see bubbles, it becomes this volcanic thing. Then it will cover the whole top in this thick textured mat, and then a hole forms in the middle. And it just needs to simmer for 40 minutes and all the impurities will come out. First thing is to get the raft off. All the flavor of this is in the consommé. Okay, now that goes away. I'm just taking an extra precaution. Just if there are any little bits left, the cheesecloth catches them. And just pour through the clear The only thing left is to taste and season. And salt will heighten all those natural flavors. It's excellent. Tastes so healthy. There you have what was once a cloudy stalk is a perfect bowl of steaming clear broth. I'll just set that aside. I'll heat it up later. And next I'm making boeuf en croûte, beef with duxelle mushrooms wrapped in puff pastry. I love Sunday lunch, and now the sun's out. It's all beautiful. I'm making a substantial main course though, boeuf en croûte, which is basically beef Wellington without the foie gras. Actually, maybe a dot of butter too. So the first thing I'm doing with my roast of beef is searing it on all sides. Look at that lovely tenderloin. I'm being quite generous with my seasoning. As soon as the meat's willing to move, you can flip it over. Okay, that doesn't take very long. You just want a nice little brown coat on it. And then I want that to cool. Because it's going on pastry and I want it cold, so it doesn't melt the pastry. And now for the mushroom part. First a couple of shallots. So you want these minced. You could use different kind of mushrooms, but generally you just use button mushrooms. These are cremini. Now, another little piece of butter. Now first shallots, until they're soft. I've still got the meat juices in here, and that's going to taste good. I'm just scraping them off the bottom. Once the shallots are soft, we can go to mushrooms. And the bay leaf. This bit of thyme. Madeira. Half a cup. It's so sweet, it's like kind of porty. And fish out the bay leaf. It's always just a little too brown for me without a bit of parsley. Okay, that's completely dry now. And I just, to bind it together, want 2 tablespoons of creme fraiche. Nice. Nice fine chop. And then just stir that through. I'm just going to cheat because I want this cooler too. I'm going to pop it in the freezer for a few minutes and hope for the best. Now, assembly. I'm going to do this one thing at a time. Voila. You really do need puff pastry for this because it just doesn't look as magnificent with regular pastry. Next, the mushrooms. You just spoon the mushrooms into kind of a mattress in the middle and leave quite a wide margin because you have to seal the edges afterwards. Cooler now. Set the meat right on top. So leaving a wide margin, like about an inch, because you don't want any leaking. Okay, now I have those egg yolks from this consommé and brush all over top. This will make it nice and golden when it's done. Now you need 2 little slits in the top so that the steam can come out. And you should go around the edge to seal it with a fork. It needs half an hour, and then this will be all nice and golden and puffed up, and the meat will be perfectly cooked. To set the table.
Come over, and we'll meet again. Come over, and we'll meet again.
Beautiful. I cut into it, but I'm not wrecking it until I get to show it off. Now I need to make dessert. Another old-fashioned fancy thing, bombe glacée. Vanilla ice cream molded with raspberry in the middle. Figuring out where to put people is always so much fun. That has to go boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. Okay, I've got to get a move on. I need dessert. And since I'm on an old-fashioned theme, I'm making a bombe glacée, an ice cream bombe. And I'm putting a raspberry sabayon in the middle. I'm just putting about an inch of water in the bottom of the pan. Just get that warm. Now I need 2 egg yolks. Need sugar. A 1/4 cup. And then, with my fancy new machine, ta-da! So, this goes over the water bath and beaten until it's tripled in volume, and that takes ages, which is why I'm not doing it by hand. Oh, it's exhausting, just holding on to it. Now I have to add some raspberry puree, which I already made. Pretty. And some nice thick red liqueur such as cassis. So 1/3 cup. And 3 tablespoons of cassis. Cassis is blackcurrant liqueur, the kind you make Kir Royal and Kir out of. Want this to cool off, nice and thick and girly, dolly pink. Okay, that was the difficult part. Well, there is another little tricky bit coming up. But I've even made that simpler than the original bombs. I have vanilla ice cream frozen in a loaf pan. Because here's the trick. If you fill your mold all the way to the top and just warm a knife, you can carve out a trench for putting your filling. And it is ever so much easier than lining a mold with soft ice cream. I'm carving down about 3/4 of the way, and I'll tidy this up in a bit. Okay, so I've got about a 1-inch border all around, and then you just make it nice and neat and square inside. So this is going back in to freeze up again. Put that in too. Now, once this has cooled down, this is 1/3 cup of whipping cream, whipped. So this combined, the cream and the alcohol and the sabayon, means that it will freeze but have a slightly softer texture than the ice cream, which makes it so nice alongside the harder ice cream. And then just spoon this into the center. It's very whipped creamy right now, but it will set. And then you can slice it into pretty slices of pink and white. Now this will freeze back over. Should be nice and hard. The center won't be quite as hard, but when you touch it, it should be firm. Now I need a nice hot towel. You can see we got white all around the edges and then a pink tunnel, which I'd like to just crawl right through with a spoon. And we're going to wrap this back up. I just wanted to make sure it worked. And then I can just haul it out for dessert and cut neat slices to garnish with raspberries. Now I need my side dish. It's going to be green beans with hazelnuts and cream. I just have my green beans with toasted hazelnuts to make as a side dish for my beef. And then I'm all set to welcome 7 people, none of whom have ever met. They just know me. Just salting the boiling water. Now these beans actually, because they're so long, I think I'm going to cut them in half. While they cook, shallot. Okay. Now, I want these to stay nice and bright green. So they're as pretty as possible. And right into the ice bath. Now, finishing touches, olive oil, shallots, and I just want them in there for a quick minute. The beans, just to reheat. Pepper, and a little fleur de sel, and then just to coat them, creme fraiche. I'm using judicious spoonfuls of it today, notice. Okay, now these nuts. I want some herbs. And tarragon is very franche. What's left of my parsley. Seeds a little lemon. Well, that's just great. Final dish. I have a fantastic menu that's going to keep everyone in their chairs for at least 4 hours. The menu is an elegant chicken consommé with snipped chives, boeuf en croûte, which is beef with mushroom duxelles in a puff pastry crust, green beans with toasted hazelnuts, creme fraiche, and tarragon, and for dessert, a romantic iced bombe, vanilla and raspberry. Everything looks great, except for me. Back in a minute. Chicken consommé. They're also funny in France, these places that have like, little stars on their hotels and they call themselves hôtels de charme, like charming hotels. They always have these flouncy curtains with wallpaper and they're so bad they're good sometimes. We have boeuf en croûte, and here are the green bean salad with hazelnuts. So just dig in and pass it around. Okay, this is a bombe glacée.
Should be stiff enough to eat with a fork.
Come on, it's Sunday afternoon, we have all day.
As of yesterday.